bit. In your prior deposition and in the handout you gave counsel at the time of that deposition last November, you estimated that Mr. Martin may have lived from 1 to 3 minutes. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did. I read the deposition transcript of deposition 2 times.
Yes.
Last weekend.
Today you said that it would be 1 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
So your opinion has changed.
Yeah, opinion
between
always can be changed.
Dr. Buck, you have to wait until he finishes with his question before you give your answer. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Your opinion has changed on that matter since your deposition last November until today. Is that correct?
No, not till today.
I'm sorry?
Not till today. Until 2 or 3 weeks ago.
You changed your opinion 2 to 3 weeks ago about how
3
long...
3 weeks ago, yes.
3 weeks ago?
Yes.
About how long Trayvon Martin may have lived after sustaining the gunshot wound?
Yes.
And is that based upon additional research that you did?
No, based on another autopsy I did, in our office. We had a case very similar to Trayvon Martin's case 3 weeks ago. First, I need to explain to you what is opinion. Okay, opinion can be changed. That's why you ask jury to be open-minded, to have open mind, right? Opinion, there is no truth or false, just right or wrong. If you have new information, if you have new experience, if you read a new book, you will change your opinion. If someone never change opinion, you can call kind of mental retarded or you never learn, right?
The focus of my questioning now is
yes.
About 3 weeks ago,
yes.
You changed your opinion.
Yeah, I'm surprised. You're surprised because...
And the reason you changed your opinion is because of a case that you handled at the medical examiner's office?
3 weeks ago.
Right.
Yes.
Not additional research through textbooks or consultations with other experts?
No.
Okay. And 3 weeks ago, when you changed your opinion, is when you decided that instead of 1 to 3 minutes, it may have been 1 to 10 minutes that Trayvon Martin may have lived?
Yes.
And did you, once you formed that opinion, did you make notes of it?
No, I did not make notes of it.
Did you contact the...
Oh, no, I have notes on it. Actually, still in my office right now.
Right. Did you contact the state attorney's office to tell them that you had changed your opinion on that important matter?
No, I did not.
When, prior to today, but after the November deposition, have you spoken with or met with members of the state attorney's office?
Yes, we did.
Yes, when?
Yesterday.
Any time prior to your deposition, I'm sorry, any time after your deposition and prior to yesterday, did
yes.
you meet with or talk with any member of the state attorney's office?
The only time we talked is to the secretary, Jennifer. We asked the time when I should come here to testify, and I told Jennifer that I need to meet with the lawyer, state attorney, if he want to present the photos. Because if he present the photos, I want to know what kind of photo he want to present. So I need to prepare to explain these photos.
Okay. So you had that conversation with a staff member of the state attorney's office?
Yeah, I always talk to her.
And yesterday you met with Mr. Della Rianda?
Yes,
Was there
yesterday,
anybody,
July 4th, right?
Was there anybody else present?
No.
Where was it?
Where or when?
Where?
Where is in my office.
In Volusia County?
Yes.
And prior to that meeting with Mr. Della Rianda, you had not spoken with anyone about your anticipated testimony except with the legal staff, Jennifer?
No, I just tell him, nobody else.
Yesterday, when you met with Mr. Della Rianda, did you talk about your anticipated testimony for today?
Yes.
And you met with him a half hour, 40 minutes, something like that?
No, I don't have any notes to record how long.
Well, what do you think, basically?
It is my opinion now, not the fact.
Sure,
that,
but what would your opinion be as to how long you and Mr. De La Rionda met yesterday?
40 minutes.
Okay. And during that 40 minutes, did you tell Mr. De La Rionda that you had changed your opinion on how long Trayvon Martin may have lived?
I don't remember. I may told him, I may not.
Do you have any notes with that about that conversation?
I do not have any notes.
Did you think it was an important matter?
I think it's important.
And important enough to tell the lead prosecutor in this case that you had changed your opinion?
He is not my lawyer. I'm not his employee. I'm independent voice. Actually, I learned that.
Are you saying that you just don't remember whether or not you told Mr. De La Rionda that your opinion had changed?
Purpose.
Please let me finish the question.
Okay.
Are you saying that you just don't remember whether you told Mr. De La Rionda yesterday in your meeting of about 40 minutes that your opinion concerning how long Trayvon Martin lived after the gunshot wound, that you didn't tell him that your opinion had changed?
I don't remember. I did not write down I did or not. I have two purposes. When I met him,
No, I don't remember. I did not write down.
yeah, the reason I say I did not remember because I did not write down. Okay, I cannot answer you question which I'm not sure. The purpose of the meeting was I want to know what kind of photo he wanted me to present because I don't want a surprise. You give me a photo, I even don't understand. Or he may present a photo, it's not my photo.
All right. Just
Second.
Specifically on that point.
Yes.
That's all I'm interested in right now.
Yeah.
It's your testimony
Mm-hmm.
regarding whether you told Mr. De La Rionda that your opinion changed, that Trayvon Martin may have lived from 1 to 3 minutes to 1 to 10 minutes,
I do not remember.
that you don't remember whether you
Yeah,
mentioned
I did
that.
not remember which because that's not the that's not reason I want to meet him.
All right.
I may
Now-
say it, I may not say it.
Sure. You may have said it,
Yeah,
you may
I may
not
not.
have.
Yes.
Just, okay.
Yeah, there's a difference between the fact and the opinion. I don't think you still understand.
Sure. Well, let's talk about something else then.
Okay.
At your deposition last November, you acknowledged that Trayvon Martin had the active ingredient of marijuana, THC, in his system, correct?
Yes.
1.5 nanograms per milliliter?
Yes.
And it was your opinion that that level of marijuana would have no physical or mental, emotional effect. Is that correct?
Yes.
That was your testimony in November.
Yes.
When you prepared your notes for your testimony today,
Yes.
one of your notes indicates that since last November, you've changed your mind on that subject,
I
correct?
changed my opinion.
Change your opinion on
Yeah.
that subject.
Today is fact, opinion. You cannot use term, story, or mind. Just I changed my opinion. I
Yes,
have right to change
last
it.
fall, your-
Everybody change it. I can change every hour. I don't see any problem.
last fall, your opinion was the level of marijuana would have no physical or mental effect, correct?
Yes, at that time.
Now your opinion is that it would indeed have at least some mental effect.
Could be. I said could be
All right, so,
because
and that's based upon additional research that
yes,
you did?
I spent hours and hours. I went to the library. I read papers, and I tried to pull out my previous research.
And
And
based
I
upon-
talked to some other expert. And
I'm sorry?
I talked to other expert.
Who did you talk with?
I talked to my previous friend in Washington State,
Who is that, please?
Dr. Brooks.
Pardon me?
Brooks, Brooks.
Is that the last name?
Yeah.
Is this
Dr. Brooks.
person a toxicologist?
He's not a toxicologist, he's a biologist. He's one of the best, if not the best, of no-dose radiation. No-dose radiation effect in the world. I worked with him for many years.
You consulted with Dr. Brooks about the issue of toxicology,
Yes,
and among other literature that you consulted,
Yes. We
Other
worked together
studies?
many times.
Did you
Sorry?
did you review studies where research was done on the intoxicating effects or the impairment effects of marijuana at various levels?
Yes, I believe. After,
Can you tell us today what studies you consulted that led to your change of opinion?
For the purpose of this limited hearing is a Richardson hearing, so please keep on topic for that.
so,
All right, let me focus you then on this.
okay.
When did you change your mind about the significance of the THC level in Trayvon Martin's blood?
I don't remember exactly time. Could be in last 60 days. Because,
60 days.
yes, when we decide to have this trial, in the last 60 days, I try to prepare for this testimony.
Right.
Because not every case will go to trial.
So you're saying that sometime in the last 60 days is when
Yes.
you changed your opinion on the effects of the marijuana?
Yes.
And did you mention that to Mr. Della Rionda yesterday when you met with him for about 40 minutes?
No, I did not mention how, I did not mention I changed my opinion. I just said marijuana tox report is part of the autopsy report. We should talk about it. I report to jury. I said I should report to jury the toxicology report. I did that every time in the previous case. And he said we may not talk about it because of some issue in the court, some
Right.
hearing, whatever.
Did you tell him that your opinion had changed
No,
about
I did
the
not tell him.
Did you tell him that your opinion had changed about the significance of the THC level?
I did not.
Why not?
Because he said we will not talk about it.
The issue is not why, the issue is did he tell him? This is a Richardson hearing, and I'd like to stay focused on that issue at this time.
Ye- Yes, of course. Was there any conversation with Mr. Della Rionda about anything related to marijuana and the research you had done?
No, I did not. He even don't want to talk about it. I said I need talk not just marijuana but toxicology report, because toxicology report is part of the autopsy report. Jury, they need to know. It's
And
the right to know. We just cannot skip that.
Was there anybody present during your conversation yesterday with Mr. Della Rionda?
No.
Had you spoken with any other member of the state attorney's office, any staff member, lawyer, investigator, paralegal, and such, where the notion of marijuana came up?
No,
So yesterday was the only time you spoke with Mr. Della Rionda or anyone on his behalf in connection with this case after your deposition of last November?
yeah, he's the only one I know actually in the state attorney office. Other than the secretary or investigators, he's the only attorney I talk to regarding
And you-
any
you-
issue.
You didn't tell her anything about changing your opinion on the marijuana issue?
No, no. I don't think she can understand that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Are there any other witnesses that you wish to call in regards to a Richardson hearing? Are there any other witnesses that you wish to call in regards to a Richardson hearing?
Yes, well, no witnesses. I do have a couple of follow-up questions. Just
Okay.
to be clear, I may have clouded the issue.
Yes.
So, until 3 weeks ago, your opinion was that Trayvon Martin would have lived 1 to 3 minutes.
Yes.
Based upon the case in the medical examiner's office, you now believe it was 1 to 10 minutes?
Yes.
As to the marijuana,
Mhm.
in last November, you believed that there would be no physical or mental effect by the marijuana.
Yes.
And today, you believe there would be.
Not today.
Not
In,
today.
not just today. In the last 60 days.
All
When
right.
I tried to prepare this testimony,
Right.
did
For the-
research.
So for the last 60 days, you have believed that in fact there is some toxicological significance to the level of marijuana in that it would have...
Different issue. Please stick to the Richardson issue. The Richardson issue is whether or not that information was made known to the state attorney's office and if they failed to pass the information on to you. Do you have any other questions regarding that issue of Dr. Bao?
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to expand this just a little bit because the admissibility issue is before the
I'm
court.
not on that issue at this time. For the third time, we're talking about the Richardson violations and whether or not there was one. This is a Richardson hearing. Do you have any other testimony you want to elicit from Dr. Bao on that? Or do you have any other witnesses that you wish to call on that issue?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The state have any other witnesses you wish to call?
No, Your Honor, but I'll be glad to show counsel my question on this issue, and he can read the answer that I've got, so I'll be glad to share that with the court.
You can.
Because I've been,
What issue are you talking about?
the 1 to 10 minutes. You can look at the answer that I have prepared, what I thought he was going to say at the bottom of that.
Okay, and that says 1 to 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, the court, after hearing testimony, finds that there is no Richardson violation. Okay, are you ready to cross-examine Dr. Bao and bring the jury in?
I would like, yes, but I would like to question Dr. Bao about his opinion regarding the intoxicating effects of
Okay,
marijuana
very briefly.
before the jury. We've already addressed it here.
No, I've made my ruling on the toxicology. The information that I've heard at this time, my ruling stands.
This is new information, please.
I
The reason-
understand you can ask them whatever questions you want, but not in the presence of the jury.
All right, thank you. Regarding the intoxicating effects of the level of marijuana in Trayvon Martin's system, it's now your opinion that based upon additional research, consulting with other experts in the field, that indeed there was some physical or mental effect by the level of marijuana that was in Mr. Martin's system.
Okay. That's your opinion. My opinion is marijuana could have no effect or some effect.
Okay, that's your opinion. My opinion is marijuana could have
No effect
no effect.
or some effect. Because if you ask my opinion, you let me say it. Instead of you say your opinion, ask me yes or no. I cannot do that.
So your opinion is, not mine, your opinion is that there could be no effect or there could be some effect.
Yes, try.
And you can't tell exactly how much.
No, I cannot.
That's the inquiry.
Okay, thank you. Based upon that, my prior ruling on the toxicology issue and the state's motion in limine, which the court granted, remains. So that is the court's order. Are we ready to bring the jury back in to finish or to do your cross-examination of Dr. Bao?
Yes, I would like Dr. Bao's notes marked and an exhibit in the record.
You'll have to give a copy. I gave him back his copy. I don't have a copy.
Would the court ask the witness to
Well-
make his notes available? Mine have my notes all over them.
This is my This is my copyright.
Well, we can do it at some point before we finish is all.
That's fine.
Sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and bring the jury in. Are you all set, Shelley?
Jury's present, Your Honor.
Please be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I apologize for the delay, but I'm going to ask you my questions again. If your answer is yes to any of the questions, please raise your hand. During the lunch recess, did any of you have any discussion amongst yourselves or with anybody else about the case? No hands are being raised. Did any of you read or listen to any radio, television, or newspaper reports about the case? No hands are being raised. Did any of you use any type of an electronic device to do independent research about the case on the internet? People, places, things, terminology. No hands are being raised. And finally, did any of you read or create any emails, text messages, Twitters, tweets, blogs, or social networking pages about the case? No hands are being raised. Thank you very much. Mr. West, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bell.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Continuing with your questioning, we've had an opportunity now to take a look at your notes, and you have them back.
Yes.
If you would please, if any of your answers in my questioning or Mr. Delarianda's follow-up require you to refresh your memory with your notes, would you please tell us?
What do you mean, refresh my note?
Right. What I'm saying is this. If at any point in the questioning you use your notes
Okay.
to refresh your memory,
Yes.
or that you are relying on your notes instead of having a memory, would you please let us know?
Okay.
Okay, I think before lunch we were talking about the basic protocol used in conducting an autopsy
Yes.
at the medical examiner's office. And you were saying that the clothing is removed item by item and packaged.
Yes.
And there would be a chain of custody started, correct?
Yes.
So the person who packaged the clothing would indicate on the packaging that they received it, and they would actually initial or sign the packaging.
Yes, generally speaking.
And then through whosever hands those packages or that evidence may have traveled would also sign to indicate the chain of custody.
Yes.
In this instance, you don't remember specifically if you were present when Mr. Martin's clothing was removed and packaged?
Normally, I should be there.
Of course, but you don't specifically remember that
No,
you were
I
here.
told you, I do not remember anything
And
on
then-
the day of autopsy.
But you have a procedure whereby the clothing is removed by one of the assistants, provided to another, who then photographs it and packages it, correct?
Yes.
And you have no reason to think that wasn't done in this case.
Yes. Right.
And then once the clothing is removed and on its way to being photographed and packaged, you then do a preliminary inspection of the body?
Yes.
And at what point in the sequence are the fingernail scrapings done?
I do not recall. It's autopsy technician's job to scraping of fingernails.
In this case, well, generally speaking,
Yes.
you don't do that.
No, I never do that, actually.
So it's always a technician.
Yes.
And do you know which technician in this case did that?
I believe is Ben Dalton.
And is there a specific procedure that's used for that?
I do not know. They were trained to do this job. It's their responsibility. I have confidence on them. They did right thing.
But you don't know in this case whether he did it right or not.
I did not.
And is it the practice of your lab to use one of the little wooden sticks for all 5 fingers on each hand?
Yes.
Why is that?
I did not write the protocol. I don't know.
Do you know who did write the protocol?
I don't know either.
Is that okay with you that they use one stick for all 5 fingers?
That's not my job. I will not worry about it.
Would you agree that if you use one stick for all 5 fingers, there's no way to identify which finger may have had the biological evidence of interest?
Yeah, you cannot. If you just use one for all 5 fingers, then
Right.
you have no ability to identify which one.
And how would you know, in fact, that in the process of making the scrapings, that some of the biological material that you couldn't see didn't actually wipe off instead of being accumulated with each finger?
I'm going to object this to speculation.
Sustained. He testified he does it.
Yeah, I never did that job. I have no experience about that stuff, so you can ask them.
You wouldn't be able to say then whether or not it was done correctly or incorrectly?
I have no experience. I have no fact. I have no opinion.
Do you know, in fact, that each of the 5 fingers were scraped on each hand?
I hope so.
Of course, but do you know?
I told you I don't remember anything on the day of the autopsy.
Does the protocol require all 5 fingers to
I
be
never
scraped?
read that protocol.
You can't tell me then, I take it, what Trayvon Martin's fingernails looked like.
I look at Trayvon Martin's body everywhere, everything.
Can you tell me what his fingernails looked like? And by that I mean, were they long? Were they short? Were they cut off below the tip of the finger?
I told you I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
If I find something significant to my attention, I will write it down. Anything I did not write down, I believe is not significant.
Right, so in other words, if it was significant to you, you wrote it down.
Yes,
If it wasn't significant, you didn't.
yes.
But if you missed something, it wouldn't be there.
Objection.
I will not miss anything. It's my job to not to miss anything. I shouldn't miss anything.
Right. Could you show me, first of all, can you tell me what Trayvon Martin's fingernails look like?
I did not remember.
Can you tell me whether or not the act of scraping them is likely to be successful because they were long or short?
I did not do that. I told you I don't have memory. I do not have any fact. I have no opinion.
So if I were to show you a picture of Trayvon Martin's fingernails, you wouldn't know whether or not they looked the same that day?
The fingernail has to connect to the Trayvon's head for me even to identify.
I'm talking about the condition, what the fingernails look like. If I showed you a picture, that wouldn't do you any good because you have no memory.
Yes,
Is that correct?
I do not have any memory. I told you before, I told you right now, I do not remember anything.
Part of the protocol also includes fingernail clippings, correct?
It's not my protocol. It's not my job. It's technician's job. They are trained to do that.
Don't you supervise the technicians?
I supervise them.
Don't you make sure they do their job completely and correctly?
I have confidence on them. They
Well-
are trained to do their job. I cannot keep my eye on them. When I do autopsy, I do autopsy. My hand is gloved. My hand is bloody.
Are you doing an autopsy with bloody, gloved hands when the fingernails are scraped?
No.
Right.
I look at them before we do autopsy.
Sure, and
And after we look at it and we write down, we should write at that point, and we start autopsy. And we never look at it again.
so you're saying you don't know whether or not it's standard protocol to make fingernail clippings as well as scrapings?
No, I don't know. I even don't know that protocol exists because it's not part of my job.
May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you what's called an evidence accountability sheet.
Yes.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I do have that. Is this one?
Right, and do you see that there's a checkbox
Yeah.
for fingernail scrapings that's checked?
Yes.
and you see one for fingernail clippings that is not checked, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
That tells you then there were no fingernail clippings
Yes.
as part of the autopsy procedure here.
And actually, I remember in Texas they do clipping. Here they do scraping. It's chief's call. The chief of medical examiner's office makes a decision how to do the business. I'm the associate medical examiner. My job is determining the cause and the manner of death. I would not worry about the protocol, the technician.
You don't worry about whether the technician is following the protocol of the office?
Yeah,
It's not your job?
No. It's not
And in
my
this
job.
case, so you would have no idea why no fingernail clippings were preserved?
Yeah, I was there. I don't remember what they did. It's not my
So-
job to worry about it.
So that would mean then that you don't know if they weren't kept because they chose not to,
Yeah, if they do not do that,
or that there weren't any fingernail clippings because the nails were so short they couldn't get any. You don't know.
I told you before, I don't remember.
Did you do a blood draw for routine toxicology in this case?
We try to get blood for every case.
So in this case, there was blood drawn as part of the routine autopsy protocol for submission to a toxicology lab for analysis. Is that correct?
Yes. In my note, we note that the blood is from Trevor's chest.
Right. For toxicology, it's...
To the issue we've previously addressed.
Okay, the court has made a pretrial ruling about this matter. Please abide by the court's order.
Of course, Your Honor. Yes, for toxicology purposes,
Yes.
the blood that was drawn was from the chest area, correct?
Yes.
For toxicology purposes, it's better, is it not, that the blood be drawn from a peripheral source?
Yeah, the peripheral blood is the best first choice, such as femoral blood.
Femoral
or
blood
subclavian, yeah.
somewhere
Or-
down in the leg?
Yeah, or subclavian blood from here.
Right. In this case, did you attempt to get peripheral blood?
Yes.
How do you know?
I did not remember.
Pardon me?
You want to catch me? I do not remember. I told you, generally speaking, okay?
Uh-huh.
We
Oh.
try to get peripheral blood first. If we cannot get peripheral blood, we try heart second. If we cannot get blood from the heart, then we try something else. In this case, Trevor Martin has no blood left everywhere else. All blood is in the chest. That's our only option, I believe.
You're suggesting, I mean, you saw the photos.
Yes.
Obviously, your staff took them, that there was no source of blood anywhere in his
the
body
photo did not show blood.
other than the chest?
I have that on my autopsy report.
Wait till he finishes with his question, and then you may give your answer.
The question was wrong.
Is it your testimony that there was no source of blood for toxicology purposes that would qualify as peripheral blood?
Yeah, if
Correct?
there is peripheral blood, we will take it.
Do you know what attempts may have been made specifically in this case?
Objection.
No, you ask me this case.
Just 1 second, please.